make sure that there's room for fun and room for adventure, but also room for you to get your butt back home. So because of that, it's really important for you to research your trip. Hey travelers, welcome to Tripping with Amadi. If you're new to my channel, I revisit some of my fun and exciting times during my travel while I help you out on yours. Today's video is about the things you need to know before traveling internationally. Now, this is an important topic and people have asked me, maybe if it's your first time traveling or you sometimes forget certain things when traveling and you just want to travel smartly. So I broke it down in 3 different categories. The first one is going to be necessities, the second one is going to be wants, and the third one is going to be optionals. Basically things that I enjoy doing or I try to do, but it's not a real hard you need to do. All right, so let's start with necessities. So a lot of these necessities have to do with security, have to do with your safety. So the first one is getting travel insurance. Now we live in the age of COVID, so that's really important to get travel insurance just in case maybe you get COVID and or flights get changed. So a lot of, this hasn't been happening recently, but a lot of flights have been getting canceled. So if you get your travel insurance, you will get your money back or you will be able to use your money in another flight. So getting travel insurance is really important. This one is really important for me. I do it all the time, and that is getting a itinerary. So making your itinerary and sharing it with your loved ones. So that's really important. I am the itinerary queen. I will say it. I'm not ashamed of it. So I create an itinerary on Google Sheets, and then I send it out to my loved ones. So you can send it out to your significant others, to your parents, so they know exactly where you are going. The next is making sure that you have required vaccinations when you go to other countries. I know there are certain countries like Egypt or Thailand where you have to make sure that you're up on all your vaccinations so you're able to exit and enter the country. The next is knowing where your US embassy is. This is very important. Once again, we want to prepare for the worst and expect the best. So knowing where your US embassy is really important because if something happens, if you lose your passport, all of those things, you can then know where your US embassy is and then make sure you're able to get home. This is something that sometimes I forget, so I definitely always put it on my calendar as a reminder. But the next one is making sure your banks and your credit cards know that you are traveling. So this is important, especially when you're traveling internationally, because you want to make sure that your bank knows where you are so your cards do not stop and the fun does not stop. The next is making sure that you have 2 copies of your travel document. So once again, a lot of these necessities have to do with safety and security. So making sure that you have document of your passport, making sure you have document of your itinerary. All these things are helpful just in case you get lost, just in case things get lost. So you're able to enjoy your trip and be able to get home. So this is something that actually happened to my friend. So you might be planning your trip, but it's really important to make sure that your passport doesn't expire within the next 6 months. This is important because if it does, then you're not able to travel. And that can be a real bummer to you and maybe the people that you're going. So this is kind of like a given, but there are some people who are more free and going with the flow, but make sure you buy your accommodations and make sure you review your accommodations as well. So accommodations can be Airbnbs, can be hotels, can be kind of a boutique or hostels, but make sure you buy it in advance so you know exactly where you're going. And a lot of the times when you're going through customs, they'll ask you where is your destination, what are you traveling for, and where are you going, and they're looking for specific addresses. So this is more for my US travelers. So there is this program called Smart Travelers program from the US government, and this is helpful once again for that safety. And you give the US government your itinerary, so if maybe your parents or your guardian or a loved one is checking in on you saying, hey, this person hasn't come back from their flight, they can get in contact with the US government, and the US government can start trying to figure out where you last were. because you gave them your itinerary. The next one has to do with electronics. Now, we all live in a world with electronics, so it's really important to make sure that you have the right plugs, the right adapters, and the right voltage for the electronics that you bring internationally. Specifically, like Europe has different voltages from us, so if you're using your little blow dryer, make sure you're in the right voltage and it's the correct plug, because no one wants to burn their hair. So the next one is research your trip. So researching your trips can be very in-depth and detail-oriented, and I literally lean towards that because you want to make sure that there's room for fun and room for adventure, but also room for you to get your butt back home. So because of that, it's really important for you to research your trip. Now, if you're interested for an in-depth, detailed video of how I personally research my trips, please comment below and just comment research. I want to see a research video, and I will make that research video for you. But I believe researching is very, very important to figure out what are the fun things, but also what are the cultures and what are the customs in this particular place. And the last necessity is plan out transportation. Every city is not a walking city. Every city is not a driving city. Every city does not have public transportation. Shoot, you might not even be going to a city. You might be going somewhere out in the woods, in the sticks, and you need to know how transportation looks like, what is typical within that region, so you can be able to get from one place to the next with ease. Okay, now let's get to the wants. So for wants, the first is having a packing list. So if you're similar to me, especially when you're going out on girls' trips, you want to make sure your fits coordinate and it works for whatever you're doing. So for an example, me and my friend, we went to Vegas and we did ATV riding. I wanted to look cute, but also make sure that I'm wearing an outfit appropriate for ATVing, for getting a little dirty, for, being able to be flexible riding on those ATVs. So it was really important for me to make sure that I was able to get the right outfits. So when you have your itinerary, then you plan your packing list. So the next one is a first aid kit that works specifically for your needs. So for an example, I am someone who is prone to migraines and also has a dairy allergy. So I can't eat certain things, nor can I be exposed to certain lights. And because of that, I make sure that I bring pills and or vitamins that work for me. So that's my personal first aid kit. So if you are traveling, especially traveling to foreign countries, they might not have medicines or vitamins that come usually in your local pharmacy. So make sure that you bring things for you just in case you get sick. Another, check the weather. This is really simple, but it's very important. Make sure you check the weather because that will determine, once again, the outfits, the clothing, the preparation you need to have. Charge all electronic devices. Once again, because I'm a YouTuber, I have a lot of electronic devices. I bring a lot of them on my trips. So it's really important to make sure you're charging all your devices before you leave. You never know what will happen, so you want to make sure that everything is charged. So this is something that I do all the time, and that is bring snacks. Make sure you bring snacks on your trip. Regardless of how short or how long, everybody needs a good snack. The next thing that I always bring is a travel pillow and a blanket, and I think that's kind of self-explanatory. So the next is look at certain aspects of the culture. So I'm a firm believer of if you're coming into a culture, then you need to understand and be a part of that culture and not be against it. You are literally a visitor of this land. So it's very important to respect customs and respect cultures regardless of where you're going. I don't care if you're gonna be in a resort for majority of the day. You are in some place else. So you should respect the culture and you should research what are the do's and don'ts of that culture. If you want me to do a video on how you look up different aspects of people's cultures and customs, I can do that. Just comment below and put culture and customs. So this is important in terms of money. Conversion rates. understanding conversion rates. So obviously we tend to spend money when we're traveling, so it's really important to understand the value of a dollar or the yen or the rupee or the dineros. Yeah, sure. It's really important to understand the value of these things before you leave, because then it's better. So when you are haggling for some beautiful scarf or you're trying to buy something off the street, you understand what it's worth. And the last one is have luggage suitable for the occasion. So I am a firm believer of packing light. Packing light is very important to me because I like to be on the go. I'm a very small person. I don't want to look like I'm not supposed to be there, even though I might legitimately not supposed to be there. I just want to make sure that I'm light on my feet and ready for anything. But maybe you're staying a long period of time, so you need to check your bag, but just make sure you have suitable luggage for whatever terrain and whatever type of vacation that you are having. Now let's do optionals. So for optionals, these are things that you don't need to do, but it's a good suggestion to do if you are traveling internationally. So the first is getting an international driver's license. This is good, especially if you know that you are going to be going for a long period of time and there is not a lot of public transportation. You know you're going to various different places. Getting a international driver's license helps you get around in that country. Picking up extra passport pages. Now, I have never done this, but if you are a frequent flyer, your passport book might be filled quicker than you know it, so it is useful to get extra passport pages. This kind of goes along to what I was saying in terms of the necessities, in terms of making copies, but printing these copies, because copies are kind of vague. It can mean digital, it can mean printed, but printing the copies of important documents is essential if that is something that you value in terms of printing information. And the last is go to the bank and get some cash on hand. So this is helpful just when you are ready to leave customs, ready to get out of that airport and actually hit those streets. If you have cash in hand, you're able to exchange it quicker and you're able to start spending your money on your trip and on your vacation. So how did you like the video? Were any of these helpful? Did I miss anything? Comment below on some things that you do when you know you are traveling international and it's a must-have for you. I come out with these videos on Sunday every other week. Let me know what kind of other videos you would like to see on this channel, and thank you for stopping by.